The only simplicity to be trusted is the simplicity to be found on the far side of complexity. Alfred North Whitehead. And my friends, we have worked for years to find that simplicity on the far side of complexity. After having gone through dozens of indicators, all sorts of different trading methods, time periods to come up with our 3 time periods, our Heikin-Ashi candlesticks, our volume indicator, and our trend line. We keep it as simple as possible, but as Albert Einstein said, not simpler. We apply Occam's razor and we do what works. Let's jump into these charts. First thing we always look at is the S&P 500. We see stocks and gold are up for the day. Bonds and Bitcoin are down. Let's jump first, like I said, into the S&P 500. It's up 0.07%. We can see the high last week was 533.07. This week, 530.51 so far. We look at where we hit that high, and then we hit that high actually on the Wednesday, Thursday 2-day candle. We see the Friday, Tuesday, because remember, markets were closed on the first day of the week here in America, here on the U.S. markets for Memorial Day. But of course, as we look at things, we can see these 2 spinning tops, and we did hit the high back there on the Wednesday, Thursday. The Friday, Tuesday is lower. Again, volume, decent. It's higher than it has been for quite a while, but still not up to average on the 2-day. And of course, we're going to have a shortened week this week. The last time we were above average volume was actually back where we hit the interim low, back on the 15th of April. And again, not been really excited about what's been going on with the S&P because we didn't have a good launch. We were almost up to, but not quite at average when things started to take off last. And as we look at things right now, we can see where they've really been sliding sideways for quite a while. We can see it on the 2-day. And of course, we can see it on that weekly candle. Now, the NASDAQ 100 was the one that really pulled the trigger for us. We had the high volume with the interim low back on the week, the 15th of April. Next week continued down some, didn't get a lower low there, but had higher than average volume. And then we had the turnaround with average volume with that green spinning top. And for the day, we're up 0.38%. Now, as we look at things, we can again see on the Wednesday, Thursday, we hit the interim high so far. And of course, on the 2-day chart, we had average volume there, just a little bit above it. We look at the high. It was, during the week, it was 460.58. So far this week, 459.74. Not too far off. And again, starting the week off decently, we are still long, of course, the NASDAQ 100. Let's now jump into 20-year U.S. government bonds. They are pulling back strongly today, 1.43%. You can see on the 2-day chart where things rumped up there on the Thursday, Friday the 16th and 17th. And then 2 spinning tops, really dojis after that, and then a red down candle representing Friday and Tuesday. We're starting the week off with a red volume. It means that we opened lower than the prior close. That's all that means. But we have blown through that prior trend line on the weekly chart. And as we look at the 2-day, we can see how it's pushing through it. And on the half-day, we can see where it literally was down through it in the afternoon with high volume. So again, bonds seem to be rolling over, but what's not helping us at all is we don't have any kind of high volume for a high. As it looks like bonds are pulling back. We didn't have a launch point either for jumping in to this 3-week little up move here, much less as it rolls back over. And if we don't have triggers, then of course we don't fire the weapon. Now, let's look at where we are on gold. It's up 1.05% for the day. I went ahead and put this in earlier today. We saw where gold hit up to its most recent high there on the 8th of April, and then rolled back off of it, pushed back up on the week beginning the 20th of May, and is rolled off of that. Interesting. We had gold somewhere back in here. We had where gold had hit up and had rolled off a few times, but of course it pushed through. But it looks like this second high that we have had, gold has just not been willing now. We can see where we hit it that week beginning the 8th of April. We hit it that week beginning the 20th of May, and it's rolled off. Gold is up for the day after 1, 2, 3 days of down movement. And we'll see where gold is actually going. Got a red down candle for the week. Again, it's not helping us either here. We don't have any average volume, but we do have a potential ceiling on gold. And we'll see how this week shapes up. Maybe we'll see gold roll back off, pull back a bit, and we can get into a short position. Now, to short gold, unlike our other ETFs, we don't have an inverse fund for gold that works. DGZ is an inverse fund for gold, but it's very illiquid. That means the difference between the bid and the ask, what you pay for the ETF and what you can sell it for from the get-go is not good. It's very illiquid. So we don't use that. What we do with gold, if we're going to practice trade it, is we go the options route. We buy put options. So again, if you know how to trade options, that's great. You can practice trade those on gold if it sets up. If you don't, consider becoming a Patreon member. We have, first thing you get when you become a Patreon member, any of the 3 levels, is you get Options Made Simple, the Charting Wealth way that jumpstarts you into options. Think about it. That may happen by the end of the week. It may not, but we'll be ready for it if it does. Going into the second week with average, we can see down at the bottom of the screen, we have an average line there. Finally, when it comes to HODL going into the 21st week after this new ETF has been created, and we can see we're getting nowhere near average volume as we look back and look at where we were even last week. We did have our interim high last week of $80.68. This week we're at $77.54 as the high. We have a green spinning top after hitting the high back on the the 2-day candle beginning the 20th, Monday the 20th, and Tuesday the 21st. Then that Wednesday, Thursday candle of last week lower, and then of course the spinning top. We still see price on the half-day and the 2-day above that prior weekly trend line, but nothing to write home about. So we will keep an eye on Bitcoin after that week really moving up, pulling back some for the day. 24-hour-a-day Bitcoin's down about 2% right now. So again, we'll keep an eye on things and see if indeed, again, we might have, well, we really can't even find much of a ceiling there, sort of an interim right around this area of 81.24, something like that. But of course, we hit that high at 83.36. So we'll just watch, see what these charts lead us to as we continue to pursue this shortened trading week. Again, thanks so much for being with us. Hope everyone in the States had a great holiday. Glad to be back jumping into these charts. Always love to hear from you. CW@chartingwealth.com. God bless my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.